Yeah.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, $35. It's the most money I ever had. I had worked months to save it. $35. Was I really going to blow it all at one time? I didn't know what to do. You know, it was the most money I had ever had. I worked so hard for it, and yet, you know, everybody at school, that's all they talked about, you know, especially all the guys, you know, oh yeah, I did here, and I went there, and and it just talked about it. Everybody had done it. Everybody, and I was the only one that hadn't. And I had $35, and now I could do it. What was I supposed to do? I mean, I couldn't ask my parents. God, if my parents found out, my mother would just never let me hear the end of it. My father would just blow off the roof. $35, you're going to waste $35 on that? You're not going to waste, give me that money, you know. So, couldn't tell them. I couldn't ask my friends because I had to pretend like, you know, I had already done it. And so, I didn't know what to do. I guess I had to do it. I had no choice. Most money I ever made in my life, but I had to do it. I took it, I folded it in my pocket. I had gotten the car from my mom. She had said, yeah, you can use the car all day. Just be back by midnight. And I said, yeah, I'll be back, don't worry. It won't take that long. And I got in the car and I drove. And I'm driving down, you know, the highway, and I'm thinking, $35, man. It's the most money I ever had, and I'm gonna blow it all at one time. $35. It was a long drive. You know, you had to drive actually out of state. You know, because in New York it wasn't there, so I drove and I drove and I drove. I knew the directions. I got them really well, but kept thinking about that $35. Was it really worth it? Was it really worth $35? God, the way my friends had spoken about it, the way everybody at school, wow. It seemed like they had done it dozens of times, and here I had, you know, I was 16, almost 17, and I had never done it, and I had $35, so I kept driving and driving. It seemed like a really long drive. You know, when you're driving by yourself, sometimes it takes longer than when you're driving with other people. And I finally got there, and I pulled into the lot. I tried to park in the back where maybe nobody would see the car and see me get out, you know, and I got out, and I sort of brushed off my clothes and sort of tried to, I'm calm. You know, I'm almost 17. I'm a man. Yeah, this is cool. And I sort of walked up, and I noticed her, there she was standing, you know, just waiting. I reached in my pocket. I felt that $35. I could still go back in the car, but I had to go through with it, you know. And I walked up, and she just stood there expecting, you know, hand out, just like looking at me like, well, you know, what are you going to do? I reached in and I counted 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 35. Well, she took that money, she folded it up, she put it in her pocket, she smiled and sort of waved me in, and I took that big step, and I stepped in, and that was the very first time I had ever gone to Great Adventure. And man, it was worth the $35.